What's going on, team? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. So in this video, we're going to do a technical analysis on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq index, and we'll kind of map out where the next key support and resistance levels are going to be. Although I feel like the resistances just don't matter for the markets. They're just breaking out day by day, and we'll kind of go over exactly what happened in the markets today and where did we close and what to watch out for moving forward. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and recommends this video to other people who might be interested in watching as well. Also, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. So the S&P 500 again rallying over 3,300 points, closing in close to 3,350. And it was up close to 64 basis points. And if you have been following up with my market updates, you have a really good understanding on what levels we've been following up with, what levels we've been watching very, very closely. But before we get into that, the jobless claims came out today. Today is also Thursday, so the report came out at 8:30 a.m. and we reported the lowest 1.19 million initial claims that were filed last week. And the expectation or the analyst estimates were close to 1.4 million. So we definitely beat expectations, and we also reported the lowest initial claims number since the pandemic started, but regardless, we were still over a million mark. So that's what we're trying to focus on, is get below the 1 million initial claims. And there's also hopes about getting another stimulus check, so the update is going to come out maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. So we'll find out what that number is going to be for the next stimulus package. But regardless, the markets were pricing all that information in. Nasdaq again closing in on record levels, and the S&P 500 breaking above our resistance that we had identified, close to 3330 or 3335 level, which is what this red rectangle represents, right around that level. So you can see how we're coming in from a last 5 to 6 days have been consistently bullish days of the S&P just trading higher and higher, and mostly leading up to big tech. So you can see Facebook up over 6.5%, Apple closing in at 3.5%, $455 per share. The high for today was $457, which makes this company the most valuable company in the world, close to $2 trillion market cap. Absolutely insane, like $1.9 trillion market cap, and it's probably going to be the first company to hit a $2 trillion market cap. Just absolutely crazy momentum for Apple. Facebook, Amazon was also closing in at record levels. It was at 3,200, I believe, so 3,230, 3,225, and then Microsoft also pushing higher, close to 1.6%, closing in near all-time highs. I think the all-time high for Microsoft is close to $217 per share. But now we're going to jump over to the S&P 500. Again, a lot of bullish momentum coming in. We'll go over to the 1 hour chart, and I want to point out something that's really, really interesting. So this right here is where the markets opened today. So you guys can see August 6th, 9:30 a.m. First hour, we push up, get rejected at our resistance that we had identified at 3330. The second hour, we pull back all the way down to this support. So this support is coming from yesterday. So we had identified this 3317 to 3310 level as a really strong support for the S&P, which is yesterday's open. So we validate that support, and I'll go over on the 5-minute chart where we validate this support really nicely. And then the next few hours, you can just see there's so much buying going on, just pushing the S&P close to 1%. Now jumping over to the 5-minute chart, there's another thing that I want to point out, and that is going to be that the support for the S&P is just so strong. I mean, there's so much support that it just goes without saying that from a price action standpoint, you'll see that we push up, pull back, push up, pull back, but this support was getting validated at 3286, right around that level, and then we finally break out. And then you can see that we start trading in between this range. So we push up, pull back, down to this 3300 level, and then we finally break out. So if we are talking about between the bulls and the bears, who's actually winning, there's no doubt the bulls are just have taken over completely, right? So we've seen such strong support at key levels, and then we finally eventually break out of them. What we need to look out for now based on previous patterns, consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout. Now we need to see a little bit of consolidation and then break over 3375 to 3400 level to near all-time highs. So the next key support for the S&P that we need to watch very closely is going to be right here, which sits at the upper half of this rectangle at 3340 to 3345 level. So we kind of closed right around that range. So tomorrow, that's something that we need to watch very closely, whether the bulls can convert this previous resistance, previous level of rejection and bear camp to now a validated bull camp, right? So I will go ahead and create another bull camp now. So we're gonna mark this 3317 to 3310 level right here as a really strong level of support, because we validated this from yesterday coming into today, and we validated that today as well. We pushed up all the way, pulled back down to this level, and then a huge breakout with heavy volume breaking above the 3330 to 3340 level. So again, the next support is going to be sitting right here, previous rejection, previous resistance to now start acting as a new support, which is what we need to watch, and then a further break over 3400 to test all-time highs for the S&P 500. So now we're going to jump over to ticker symbol IXIC, which is going to be the Nasdaq index. And first we'll go over to the daily pattern to kind of understand what exactly is going on. And from my yesterday's market update video, you should have a really good understanding that it's been trading in between this trend channel that we have recognized. So kind of like pushing up, pulling back to this higher low, pushing up, making higher highs, pulling back to this higher low again. So it's just been trading in between this trend channel. And the Nasdaq again hitting an all-time high over 11,108, closing in up over 1%. And yesterday I'd mentioned that we could potentially see another 3-point push for the Nasdaq from 11,000. So right now we're just over 108 points. So I would not be surprised if you go ahead and test this resistance all the way to 11,300 level, which is where this higher high falls. Based on this trend channel, and then we see a pullback down to this previous resistance, which was at 10,800. So this was kind of like a double top for the Nasdaq, which could potentially start acting as a new support. So we could come down here to retest this, or if we do break below this 10,800 level, then I've kind of recognized this circle or this higher low where the Nasdaq could come down to and test out its support, which is going to be 10,600 to 10,650, right? So we have validated this higher low multiple times, going back as far as June of 2020, and then once again last week of June, and then more recently right here in the last week of July, where we also found kind of like a horizontal support at 10,200. So those are some of the levels that I'll be watching. Again, this right here is the analysis from yesterday, so I would not be surprised if we do see another 100, 200 point push tomorrow. And then pull back down to this support. So if I were to bring out the RSI and the MACD as well for Nasdaq, so you'll notice that we're kind of approaching the overbought levels. So right now it's at 69.39, and anything over 70 is considered to be overbought. And I just want to highlight that the last few times when we have reached the overbought side, so this was back on June 10th when the Nasdaq was essentially at that higher high, and then we saw a pullback of over 6% down to 9,370. So the Nasdaq was overbought, then we saw a pullback. Same thing happened right around here when the Nasdaq was becoming a little bit too overbought. Then we saw a pullback. Same thing happened here on July 10th when the Nasdaq was becoming really overbought. So you can see that July 10th we were right around this level at 10,800, and it pulled back over 5.5%. So right now again we are approaching some type of overbought territory, and we are coming from a relatively oversold for Nasdaq, right? So I mean Nasdaq is just on an aggressive push higher, so you probably will never find it below 50 levels, because it's just been making higher highs and higher lows. I think the last time it was well below 50 was from this crash, right? So when it was trading all the way as low as this 6,650 level because of this huge global pandemic. So that time the RSI was very oversold, well below 50, even touching levels of 30. But since then you can see that it's just been trading above the 50 range, and the most it pulls back down to is going to be the 51.72 level. So that's something that I would personally be keeping a close eye on, because in my opinion Nasdaq in general is becoming a little bit too overbought, and big tech is just pushing and driving the markets higher and higher every single day. But that being said, long term there's nothing stopping these markets, again in my opinion, even though there's a huge disconnect between the economy and the markets. You also have to consider all the facts that Fed is just there available, using their tools to make sure the markets are functioning and the prices are stable, and that they are not seeing another crash anytime soon. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the markets and whether we are finally in this bull market rally, and how long is it going to continue, whether it's going to pull back, how low it's going to come down to. Let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you guys and your feedback. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. As always, happy investing, and I will see you guys in the next video.